Hey, today's video will be about chirognomy, chirosophy, chiromancy, or more simply said, palmistry. The word or term chiromancy is derived from Greek chir, meaning hand, and mantia, meaning prediction, from medieval Latin chiromantia. However, it is also probably borrowing from French. The first known use of the word chiromancy is thought to be somewhere around 1528. And this is a science or art of divination by means of lines and marks on the human hand. It is said to have been practiced in very early times by the Brahmins of India and to be known to Aristotle, who discovered a treatise on the subject written in letters of gold, which he then presented to Alexander the Great and which was later translated into Latin by Hispanus. Now, this name or term Hispanus was the Latin name given to a person from Hispania during Roman rule. The ancient Roman Hispania included modern Spain, parts of France, Andorra, and the British overseas territory of Gibraltar. There is an extant work on the topic of palmistry or chiromancy by Melampus, not the character from Greek mythology, but of Alexandria. He was a hierogrammateus, so a writer of sacred records, especially in hieroglyphics. Others who were known to know of palmistry were Hippocrates, Adamantius, Galen, and Paulus Aegineta or Paul of Aegina, most of them being physicians and or philosophers. And later on there were Arabian commentators on these authors. By the Greeks, palmistry was held in high repute. In the East, in India, China, Syria, Egypt, land of mysteries, it is still extensively practiced. As chiromancy is a very ancient art and was formulated centuries ago, writers on the subject from all ages are numerous. There was a time, a quite long time, of almost 2 centuries where palmistry declined in popularity, but in mid-19th century two people revived it. They were the Artepigny and de Barol, a French artist. The Artepigny was concerned mainly with chirognomy, or the art of judging character by the shape and the form of the hands, while de Barol founded the modern art of chiromancy, or divination and prognostication by the lines of the hands. However, palmistry was at some point subdivided into three, not two, lesser arts, and these are again chirognomy, so the art of recognizing the type of intelligence from the form of the hands, chirosophy, which is the study of the comparative value of manual formations, and chiromancy, the art of divination from the form of hand and fingers, lines, and markings. The palmist studies first the shape and general formation of the hand as a whole, afterwards regarding its parts and details, and the lines and markings being considered later. From chirognomy and chirosophy, the general disposition and tendencies are ascertained, and future events are foretold from the reading of the lines and markings. There are several types of hands, and palmists have defined 7 well-marked types of hand. The elementary or large palm type, which can be seen, for example, in peoples from polar and northern regions, like Sami peoples, historically known in English as Laplanders. But I have read somewhere that this term is regarded as offensive by the Sami from Sapmi region. Also, this type of hand can be seen in Turkic people and in the Slavic people. From history, people with this type of hand have in the course of centuries evolved as a type adapted to making and win a living by hard and rough labor. Their acquisitive and self-preservative faculties have developed to predominance, and they may lack the finer sensibilities. It is possible that in the somewhat near future this hand type may not be common. And some of the attributes that can be associated with this type of the hand are firmness, faithfulness, ardor, egotism, shrewdness, strength, and truthfulness, but also superstitious nature, narrow-mindedness, and ignorance. Nevertheless, this type has given many great leaders, of which some have stained world and especially European history with blood. Next is the necessary hand with spatulated fingers, so the spatulate or active hand, large and broad, with blunt, thick fingers broad at the tips. This hand is the mark of a person of action rather than of thought, tireless, restless agitator who seeks to improve the lot of others by his endeavors. This is a bold and daring navigator of the seas or the courageous pioneer who opens up new lands to the world. These people are intolerant of convention, they're original in thought and action, and women of this type are especially endowed with strong intuition. In games and sports, these people may excel, and usually they're musical. And some of the greatest painters of all time have belonged to the spatulate type, like Pablo Picasso. In general, this hand denotes the executive rather than the administrator. Not so good history fact is that rulers and leaders of this hand type have made history by their failures rather than by their achievements. The artistic hand with conical shaped fingers, also known as temperamental or conical. This type of hand marks the emotional or temperamental subject, impetuous, impulsive, and exuberant. The aesthetic perception is strongly developed, and beauty in all forms and shapes appeals greatly to this individual. Although scarcely artistic in the real sense of the term, one is sensitive to the emotional stimulus of music and pictures. A somewhat unstable nature is indicated, the temperament being colored by varying moods which never endure long. Sanguine and generally optimistic, one can be easily depressed by unexpected happenings or by lack of success in trivial enterprises, and the mood of satisfaction may change suddenly to one of dark despair. These people may not have own constructive thoughts, thus they reflect moods and opinions of stronger personalities around. As long-term partners, they may be somewhat difficult as they crave excitement and pleasure and may not be very disciplined and like daily routines. Hot-tempered, they may make enemies, however, their outbursts of passion are quickly followed with remorse. The useful hand, of which fingers are square-shaped or utilitarian hand. This type of hand denotes the methodical, matter-of-fact individual who is steady, righteous member of society. At some point in time, it was considered that this individual may not rise to great heights in intellectual matters, but one is a worker who very often reaps the reward due to his industry and perseverance. In contrast to the owner of the spatulate hand, one is conservative in tendency and a sturdy supporter of the existing order of things, like in politics, business, or in religion. A suggestion of change calls forth immediate and intense opposition. This is a very valuable member of society, as one can appear as a successful lawyer, politician, a teacher, or a preacher, making a way in the world as much as by the things he abstains from doing as by one's deeds. This is a good soldier, but not a very good leader. These people make good marriage partners, as they are devoted to material things, to make a home comfortable, but they may forget little acts of love, affection, and attentiveness. The knotted or philosophical hand is noticeable for its bluntly conical fingertips, its large joints, and its broad third phalanges. It denotes a materialistic type of mind, logical, methodical, and systematic. This is the hand of the seeker after life's truths. These people are inclined to be reserved and to appear standoffish, but this reserve arises merely from a profound knowledge of and an interest in matters that only the few care to talk about. Young individuals with this hand type may have a somewhat introspective tendency and may not be good mixers with others. This is a hard worker, honest with oneself as well as with others, and has few delusions. They keep an open mind during investigation or analysis of evidence, but will likely make own opinion and back it up or firmly stand behind it. These people are not the best of mates, but are considered to be good parents. Also, usually they're skeptics. The pointed idealistic or psychic hand marks the possessor as one who worships at the shrine of beauty, not material beauty so much as the beauty of the mind. However, the artistic perception is usually well developed and the individual appreciates true beauty in everything. This is a rather impractical type in mundane matters. These people are gifted with vivid and creative imagination. They like verse and frequently they write, paint, or compose. If one has a partner with the same hand type, this is usually a very harmonious combination, though they may not benefit from material aspect. If the similarity is merely superficial, intense unhappiness may result. Being naturally fickle and inconstant, this type is in need of a strong bond of love to hold on to one's partner. These individuals find much solace in faith and religious practices of some sort and good works. The pointed type is rare, and its completeness is even rarer. And the mixed hand in which the types are blended, the hand that cannot be classified in any of the six previous groups, and it contains characteristics of some or all of them. So the palm may be large and the fingers long, thick at the lower phalange and therefore tapering, so it has points of the idealistic type and others that associated more with the functional or practical nature. Other individuals may have characteristics of both the active and philosophic type of hand, and the rule of interpretation is to give value to the most important features. Generally, a mixed hand indicates an adaptable temperament and some versatility, and this versatility sometimes may show that one is jack of all trades, thus not making much success of his life in consequence. To this type belong many brilliant engineers, inventors, and research workers, and they spend their lives pursuing the objects of the moment. But once they solve problems, they may not be materially better off, though throughout history, community has profited from their discoveries. And I must add here that there are differences between male and female hand, as a woman's hand is softer, smoother, and more modeled. The elemental hand is quite rare in females, and the spatulate and knotty types are less noticeable than in the males. The square or utilitarian hand type is more easily recognized, as is the mixed. The principal lines on the palm of the hand are those which separate the hand from the forearm at the wrist, and which are known as the rosettes, or the lines of wealth, health, and happiness. Then the line of life, which stretches from the center of the palm around the base of the thumb, sometimes reaching the wrist, and may be joined for a considerable part of its course by the line of the head. Then the line of the heart, which runs across 2/3 of the palm, above the headline, and the line of fate between it and the line of the head, nearly at right angles extending towards the wrist. And this line may not be visible at all or may become visible in later part of the life. The line of fortune runs from the base of the third finger towards the wrist parallel to the line of fate. Again, this line may be hardly visible. It was thought if the lines are deep, firm, and of narrow width, the significance is good, excepting that a strong line of health shows constitutional weakness. At the base of the fingers, beginning with the first, lie the mounts of Jupiter, Saturn, Apollo, and Mercury. At the base of the thumb, the mount of Venus, and opposite to it, the mount of Luna, or Moon. If well proportioned, they show certain virtues, but if exaggerated, they indicate the vices which correspond to these. The first displays religion, reasonable ambition, or pride and superstition. The second, wisdom and prudence, or ignorance and failure. The third, when large, makes for success and intelligence, when small, for meanness and obscurity. The fourth, desire for knowledge and industry, or laziness and not interested in anything. The lunar mount indicates sensitivity, imagination, morality, or lack of, and self-will. The mount of Venus, charity and affection, or if exaggerated, viciousness. The phalanges of the fingers are also indicative of certain faculties. So, for example, the first and second of the thumb, according to their length, indicate the value of the logical faculty and of the will. Those of the index finger indicate materialism, law, and order. Of the middle finger, humanity, system, and intelligence. Of the third finger, truth, economy, and energy. And of the little finger, goodness, prudence, and reflectiveness. And let's finish this video with a quote by Immanuel Kant, a German philosopher who said, "The hand is the visible part of the brain." So if you're interested in this topic, prepare your palm and join me next week when I will be talking more on fingers, lines, and mounts. And don't forget, put your future in good hands, your own. Thanks for watching. Bye.